is the Lamborghini Marzal, and I've been waiting to get in this car from the moment I saw it down here in Monaco. It was a concept car back in 1967 shown at the Geneva Motor Show, and the only other outing other than this weekend that it has had publicly was back in 1967 at the Monaco Grand Prix, when it was a pace car driven by the Prince of Monaco, and in the passenger seat was Grace Kelly. But Massimo, that's the knowledge I have on it. You have so many more stories to tell me about this car, so where do we start?
We can start from the very beginning, how this car originated, and it was just because Lamborghini and Bertone, coach builder, were coming together with the great success of the Miura. And so the idea of Lamborghini was to have a four-seaters. And so that was the proposal that Bertone made him of a potential four-seater. And so they worked together. So they supplied the chassis, Gandini designed the body for Bertone, and the technician back in Sant'Agata Bolognese worked on the engine. So they took a 12-cylinder engine of the Miura, they chop it in two, so they make a 6-cylinder, because there was no space otherwise where to put the engine with such a long cockpit in. And that was the very origin of what could be a four-seater Lamborghini that a few years after was morphed, let's say, in the Spada that went into production.
Now, I can see here on the kilometer counter, 520. That is all this car has done. Why?
Because it's a show car. Mainly show cars are not made to be driven, so most of them not even having a mechanic. This one has a beautiful mechanic too, so was driven a little bit during the days of the Grand Prix in 1967, then was shipped back to Sant'Agata Bolognese, where test driver Bob Wallace have a couple of days of driving of the car. So most likely those were the most intense day of life of the car. But then there were too many topics to be developed. Mostly was the fact that Lamborghini owners wanted 12-cylinder, not a 6-cylinder. So they decided to stop this project at for the moment. So the car went into the Bertone Museum, and there has been unused for more than 30 years. So then the restoration, the very first outing for a few kilometers was a test driving after the restoration, and most likely these 2 days are the longest distance covered by the car in the last 30-40 years.
Tell me what happened when it was trying to be shipped.
As a show car, was shown in Ginevra, then came here, then was shown in other shows around the world. At the end of the 67 season, the idea was to ship it in America for the Detroit Motor Show. But there were documents missing, and the Italian customs impounded the car on the harbor of Genova, because there were documents missing and there were somebody that did not pay the VAT. So the car seated on the dock for more or less 10 months, 1 year, totally uncovered and protected. So unfortunately there was some damage. The floor and the lower part of the car became a sort of a bathtub, so it was full of water, and that created damage that we discovered when the car was restored.
Well, it's certainly been restored to the highest quality. To say it's a privilege to even just sit in this car is an understatement. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.